And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 118th episode of HexTherapy.live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. I've got a great show for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about Richard Hart's latest tweets, and I'm going to give you my unique commentary on all this and more. So hit the like and subscribe button, and welcome.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research, big videos on sudden wealth syndrome. There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man. Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.
All right. So I'm really excited to have my old YouTube studio set back up now. Now that my arm is healing from the car accident, I'm really excited to be back, and still got a ways to go on that, but hey, still here. So I think it's almost my duty as a self-proclaimed crypto psychologist to weigh in on the huge behavior change that we're seeing from Richard Hart these days. Of course, he's the founder of Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX. And, I know other channels have already covered this, but I want to weigh in on this because, look, I've been following Hex and Richard and everybody, paying very close attention to details. And so anyway, I think that this is big news. I think that this is a turning point, and dare I say, a redemption arc. And I'll give you some game theory about why I think that's so important for the outlook of Hex and for the outlook of the community as well. So here we've got the first of several tweets that we're going to go over tonight from Richard Hart. He made this last night, my time, and it got over 250,000 views on Twitter. This is from March 1st. Richard says, "Flexing is boring. I'm just focused on building and making the world a better place." Now, a lot of people rushed to Richard's profile, and even myself, I did go to the profile to look and discovered that there is a different profile description here than there was before. And so again, I know a lot of people have covered this, but I just want to point out that for those of you who don't understand the context of all this, who have maybe come into the Hex ecosystem maybe in the past year and a half, you saw a different side of Richard than people saw the year and a half before that. And I would almost correlate some of Richard's behavior based on the bear and the bull markets, almost as a leading indicator, if you will. And as I reported on Quant Gang when the Bitcoin top was happening, I think that it's even possible that Richard Hart made the Bitcoin top. He not only called it, but he may have been aggressively selling the Bitcoin that he bought at $30 when Bitcoin was hitting 65K. And so that's really remarkable because it tells us a story that, even though he can sell Hex and maybe he has Hex, maybe he doesn't, it's all a mystery in the OA. We can see that the origin address coins have never been sold on chain. So that's pretty remarkable. And that's different than any other crypto project you're going to find. I don't think anywhere else you'll find a bigger disparity between the amount that people are claiming that the founder sold, but lacking proof. And, it's very rare for a coin to not have a founder selling. So it's pretty cool. Before what we saw here, we saw that Richard had been bragging for pretty much from the time of the top of the bull market. So when Bitcoin was hitting all-time highs, this was about a year and a half ago now. And then, then we saw Richard start to pivot today in the past day or two. So Does that mean that the bottom is in? It's hard to say. And I made a huge point on Twitter Spaces the other day about how I think that Richard did call the bottom perfectly. And I think people may have front ran his call by buying 11K Bitcoin on Grayscale. And I tweeted on the day that Bitcoin was 11.1K on Grayscale. And so I find that really interesting. And this is how it ties into Hex Therapy for today is how incredible is it that, I mean, even for myself, I can call the top and the bottom in Bitcoin and in Hex on the week that it happens, and I can tweet about it so you can go back and talk about it on stream, and so that there's like clear evidence that that's what happened. But still, human behavior and emotions and everything, like I'm not going to tell you that I perfectly sold the top and perfectly bought the bottom. I'm more of a dollar cost average person. I'm more of somebody who didn't like trading to any degree. Early on, first off, I was a Bitcoiner, and the whole idea of Bitcoin to me, being a young person who's working, was, accumulate as many Satoshis as possible, accumulate as many Bitcoin as possible. And so I've always been in the saving mentality, but now that I'm starting to see these patterns, I think it's true that once you're in your second or third crypto cycle, that's when you get really good at playing the game. And I think, Richard is probably like 4 cycles in now. And so it's really exciting to kind of characterize his behavior and look at the psychology of it all. I think now here's a point I haven't heard people make recently that I think is a particularly good alpha. So I think it's quite possible that that some of the outrage marketing that Richard did, that he's now removed from his profile, I think that could have been part of a redemption arc. And I think that it could have been, not only a signal that, the top is there, or that, we're going through a change in the cycle of crypto, but I also think that it could have had the effect, whether Richard intended it to or not, it could have fudded out some of the people who were dumping. And if you FUD people out and they all want to dump at 3 cents and 1.7 cents and just the entire bear market for Hex, all those people who sold at prices that are lower than we're at today and maybe lower than we're going in the future, that's pretty convenient for the holders and the long-term players and even the medium-term players in Hex. It's really convenient for us that that some people maybe lost faith in Hex because of the founder, because he was buying too much Gucci, and because he bought the world's biggest diamond and all, talked about his privates. So if that caused people to dump, well, you can only sell once, and those people aren't going to be able to sell again when the price possibly moves higher. And so I think that's really fascinating. And so was the outrage marketing, was part of it to draw attention to Hex, and was part of it to see if any weak hands wanted to sell? I think that could have been the case. So what do you think? Let's see. And let's check in with the chat here. Thanks everybody for showing up. Hey, by the way, we had already almost 4,500 people tune in to Game Theory Gang this past Tuesday. And it was another example of how the show just keeps getting better and better every week. So, if for some reason you didn't tune in to that episode, we had Scotty Does Know, goes by the handle Scotty Does Know, and he's an expert when it comes to the Pulse X incentive token. So that was a really fun discussion that we had. And then, as always, we had Crispy Man doing a really great new take on Hex data and looking at stuff on chain. We had Brissology on there as usual, giving us his breakdown on the latest crypto news. So that was really cool. yeah, we're going to get to the staking terminology, and we're going to talk about how it affects regulation, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Crypto Gains Club, Tom, hello everyone, Dan, Joe, good to see everybody. Melf, Tony, we're sitting at 7.3 cents today. That's really incredible. That's up much higher than we've been since the start of the year. And so can we make T-share mining a business now? Well, depends what the rules are for regular Bitcoin mining, right? Bristology's in the chat. Shout out to you. Art, hey, thanks for being a supporter of the channel. I appreciate you. Hex all the way. There you go. They sold so that we may soar. Oh, I like that, Aaron. Very good. Jay Everything. Jerry Oaksmith, good to see you there. Good to see you there. Child. I can't say staking. I can't say interest. I can't say, well, you could say whatever you want because it's decentralized, but Richard Hart did give us an update today on better terminology to use. And I think as a community, I think we should adopt it because it sounds way better. And yeah, Int Pro, it is exciting that Hex is up 350% in 60 days. And I will also point out, people who got scared off by the SEC, that was a valid fear, and not saying that we couldn't find out more bad news or good news about that. But that was right around the time that Hex bottomed, was when I got into my car accident and the SEC came after Hex broadcasters, right? And it wasn't super clear if Hexologists or myself or other people were going to quit. People didn't know how that would shake out. People didn't know if the community would go away because of the SEC harassment / investigation / whatever they're doing. And so that's really interesting to me. And then, of course, we had the Hex conference. We had 70 or 80 people all come together and volunteer for the third year in a row. And that marked the kickoff there, where the price of Hex had bottomed and then started going back up. So it was right around the beginning of the year, the end of last year, that we saw this maximum opportunity that we've seen in the, really since the pulse chain sacrifice. We haven't had prices that low since before the pulse chain sacrifice. So that's yeah, it's really exciting to come off those lows and to see so much potential, I think. Hex Force One, good to see you. Can you give a quick explanation on the path of value from ending a stake to a traditional bank account? Yeah, you can make sure you don't end your stake early. Make sure you end it on time. Should not be more than 14 days late. If it's more than a couple T shares, you might want to mint your Hedron, or if it's like a longer stake, or if you got a Hedron bonus, you can mint that before you end the stake. Then when you end the stake, you'll get liquid Hex back into your wallet. It's not a stake, by the way. It's a mining instance now or something. We'll have to figure out the wording for that, but I'll get into that later. But if you want, if you want the quick explanation, basically now you have liquid Hex. So what I would do is I would take my liquid Hex and I would go to matcha.xyz. I'll put it in the chat here. https://matcha.xyz. And that's where I would swap Hex for USDC. So I'd swap Hex for USDC, and then I would send it to Coinbase or Kraken and use that to send to my bank account. That is the offboarding technique. Great to hear about the ARM improvements, Maddie. Hey, thanks. The chilling effect. That's right. The SEC coming after people who don't appear to be doing anything wrong. Not quit, forced out. Yeah. yeah, it's no good, no good. And yeah, hit the like, people, hit the like, because the other thing that well, let me shoot down to this, because we're kind of on the topic already of regulation. Richard tweeted out something today. He said, "This won't matter to many people. Hey, it matters to me." And it says, "But for those who do care, this is kind of a big deal." He's saying this is something called the BL Defense Fund, and they put out a tweet today or yesterday saying, if you've been contacted by anyone investigating Hex, Pulse Chain, or PulseX, DM us on Telegram at Blockchain Legal Defense. We're developing a collective defense against government overreach and need your input. We aim to provide you with legal assistance. Let's work together. Hey, that sounds great now, doesn't it? I really love that that somebody's stepping up here. Somebody's stepping up to make this happen. And I love that. I'm going to look into it for myself. And stop government overreach. Sounds like a good idea to me. So that's something that's really exciting that Richard put out today. Tons of good news today. It's okay to be excited. Let's see. Hit the like, people. I'm saying harvesting from now on instead of other terms that could be twisted into being financial expectation. I also like harvest, says Dan. Inflation reward. Yeah. Well, you're minting your coins. So let's get to that. Let's get to this. End fun. There you go. Okay, so Richard posted earlier, he said, Hex mining is no longer called staking. The focus is on the user doing all of their own work and reaping all of their own rewards. There are no middlemen in Hex. There's just you and the code you choose to run. Work is in progress, updating everything. And hey, I got word today that my front end for staking Hex or setting up your Hex mining got updated. So that yeah, let's see if that's set up already or not. Yeah. Let me log into my MetaMask that I use for streaming that doesn't have a lot of money on it. And we'll go to the website o.tshare.app and we'll see if this got updated already. Oh, okay. Still working on it, but yeah, it should. That'll be updated soon. I think that all the official front ends are going to get updated here at some point. We can go.hex.com. Let's see if it got updated there. Still called staking there. So that'll get updated soon. That's exciting. So it's I mean, I heard Furu Finance say this today when he was streaming with Johnny Cass, and Furu Finance said there's going to be the people who remember getting into Hex before the language was changed from staking to mining, and then there's going to be everybody who gets in afterwards. And yeah, I think that is the perfect take. So were you here before the language was changed? And look, we knew what we were doing was mining time all along. This is not new news to anybody who has been technically competent in the area of Hex. But it's just, I'll give you another perfect example. It's like when the definitions on the front ends were changed from interest to yield. Those words mean different things. And I would actually argue when it comes to staking that word has kind of been changed in DeFi. Staking nowadays refers to like you're sending your coins somewhere for a middleman to like try to earn yield off of them. That's not what you're doing in Hex. In Hex, you burn your Hex, your liquid Hex, and that creates the T-share, which is an instance of Hex mining. And then when your Hex mining operation is done with that T-share, then you mint brand new Hex. Kind of like how Bitcoin mints Bitcoin out of thin air to provide security for the network. So not a new narrative at all, not even a new description, but it will be updating the language to make it more congruent with reality and with the way that the word staking is used these days. So no more staking, but still time locking and mining Hex. I'm glad he finally changed it, said Brett. I think he realized how huge he will be, and to bring in more people into state, he needs to be like this. With dropping the outrage marketing. Inflation reward. Amazing. Hello, Maddie. I went from a non-believer of Hex in the Pulse ecosystem to sacrificing for PulseX and ladder staking Hex and accumulating liquid Hex. Been watching your live streams more and more. Thank you. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I love when more people can join the gang. Vibra Finance CEO. Hey, Maddie, hope all is well. Yeah, certainly. Prices tanking across the board. ETH down 6%. Wow. Well, that was only a matter of time, huh? Hex is a commodity, not a security. It's harvestable by anyone and is completely fungible. Well, yeah, we put the fun in fungible. Hex is no more of a security than an apple or an orange. Actually, Bristology, the correct analogy is a picture of a pony that you drew yourself. And the reason why that's so important, of course, is because whereas the Howey test related to oranges, they were selling plots of they were selling investment contracts having to do with growing oranges, making orange juice and all that. Well, Hex is not even close to that. And so that's why the go-to example is always drawing a picture of a pony yourself. That is not a security. That's art and freedom of expression and freedom of speech and things that are actually protected by lots and lots of precedent, you could say. You know, and I mean, let's talk about how the price of ETH is probably dumping right now because probably because the Shanghai update keeps getting closer, where there's going to be millions of Ethereum that become unlocked, or because the macro environment kind of got overheated. Those would probably be the, kind of the macro and technical events that would cause a dump in ETH right now. So that's kind of interesting, but yeah, at the end of the day, even Gensler is starting to say Ethereum is now a security. Well, I could see a little bit more of an argument for that. Not saying that he's right or that it is, or that it should be, and that the SEC is not overreaching, but I would see the reason why he might be moving in that direction has to do with the fact that when you stake ETH, I think a lot of people are sending, coins to Coinbase or to other validators. Those coins are getting locked up for an unknown period of time, and you're kind of relying on the developers to give you something in return, which is the Shanghai update, where your coins can suddenly be unlocked. This is fascinating, of course, because it might be that Ethereum 2.0 launched incompletely, right? They didn't have the Shanghai update to unlock the validator coins. ETH 2.0 may have launched kind of prematurely because they were worried that Pulse Chain was going to come along and eat their lunch. And it certainly still could. But relying on devs to do something, see, it's different with the Pulse Chain sacrifice, because when you sacrificed funds, you weren't expecting anything. It was really clear that that's how it worked. With Ethereum staking, you are expecting something from someone, from a middleman developer. When you stake your Hex, or you turn it into a mining operation, you don't rely on anybody because it's a finished product. So look, there's a lot of opportunity probably before the SEC, maybe someday they will say that Bitcoin and Hex are the two things that are not securities. We can always dream of that, right? Hit the like button if you like that idea. That's a good looking front end, Maddie. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I think so too. Go.tshow.app. Raise your hand if you were here when there was no hex.com. It used to be hex.win when Hex first launched. Yeah. Very, very true. Yep. Go.hex.win still works, but it routes to hex.com. Do you think PulseX single-sided staking will be called mining as well? Do you think it will be a problem in the future? All of that language, I think, is negotiable based on how humans are using language. When Hex launched, it was before really the rest of the staking schemes came out. And so, yeah, I think it's a little bit arbitrary what you call it, and that the language gets confused. I think that we're so early that we're not really seeing what the final wording is going to be for everything, which is exciting. I'm excited about that. Tea time. Hey, thanks for being a supporter of the channel. Appreciate you. Look, Mom, I'm a miner now, says Dan. 7.5 cents is still an amazing price. I think so too. I really do. Is StakeRap going to change their name? Just curious. I think they'll probably keep it the same. They're based out of France, so they don't really have to, but I don't know. I still think StakeRap is a cool name. Benny Blanco, smash the like button. Hey, hopefully all of you know that I'm doing a Hex meetup at the Bitcoin conference this year, May 18th to 20th. And you can learn more by going to my blog, HexpoMiami.com. And that's where you will find out how to get tickets and merch and all the really cool stuff that you need to have a great time. I had an incredible time last year at the Bitcoin conference, being surrounded by so many open-minded people who were all interested in crypto, not just Bitcoin. It's the organizers of the conference that are Bitcoin maximalists, and everybody who attends loves everything. So that's definitely something to check out. And I've got it pinned. I'll drop it in the live chat as well. HexpoMiami.com. I might only sell 120 tickets. I haven't decided yet. So, they're selling out quickly. Definitely make sure to pick one up now if you want to go to that. And then you have to separately buy the Bitcoin conference ticket, which is pretty expensive, but still a good time. Got a serious question that I've been wondering for some time. It says I Proskelto. How is it the way OG hexagons off-ramp their profits that they scrape when time comes? How do they get it to their quote bank account to spend in the physical world? Yeah, well, you end your stake on time, and then you take the liquid hex and you swap it for USDC on matcha.xyz. Then you send it to Coinbase, and Coinbase does not charge you a fee to turn it into USD. And then you take that USD and you send it to your bank account linked through Coinbase. Good day. Get Hex, Anita. Almighty Hexagon. Why would terminology matter? Well, it has to do with what the rest of the industry is calling it, how people were staking with Celsius and Ethereum, and now those are being called scams and middleman, and that affects whether your favorite YouTubers get called in by the SEC or not. So that's why it would matter. Terminology actually matters quite a lot when it comes to this sort of thing. But of course, if you're not directly involved in the public facing side of something that's decentralized, then maybe you wouldn't care. Maybe you're so decentralized yourself that you don't have anything to worry about. But for those of us who are sticking our necks out for the cause, doing so selflessly, I think that that we're centralized enough that the SEC, they can send us a subpoena and borderline on overreach or clear overreach. Hard to say. I guess that's what that extra law firm is going to help us figure out. Brissology says ETH was a security because they asked for a fundraising campaign for a token, not a sacrifice. They have always had a dev team. Very good point, Brissology. Hey, Balia Brand, good to see you back in the mix. And thanks for complimenting me on the great stream. James, honestly, I'm lost. What the updates on Hex and PulseX? I've invested $5K in both. Well, I'm sorry to hear you're lost. The PulseX sacrifice is over and will be part of an airdrop that may be happening in the future. Not sure when. And Hex has seemed to have bottomed. Now I can't predict what all the people with big bags are going to do in the future, but if you bought at the top, you bought at 50 cents. If you bought at the bottom, you bought at 1.7 cents. And the way that Bitcoin tracked, it would always go up 10x and then go down 95% and then go up 10x and go down 95%. And so we're going to, at least for me, I'm going to stick around and see if that's what happens in Hex. This is not financial advice. This is not mining advice. This is no advice at all. It's not therapy either, by the way. Hey, people raising their hands saying they remember Hex.win. All right. Suddenly Jack arrived in RH Twitter. It's surprising. Well, he can go kick rocks. A lot of people ask me, says Fibra Finance CEO Adam, a lot of people ask me about Kraken and are worried. They got in trouble for giving APY way higher than the native protocols. Coinbase doesn't do that and will fight it. Hashtag staking mining forever. There you go. So Melatonin is showing that the price continues to dip here, giving people an opportunity to load up their bags or to sell the dip, whatever your style is. Can discuss low liquidity in Hex and how that might be bullish. Yeah, I mean, people are attracted to price volatility. And so as long as you're not selling bottoms and buying tops, then you might do better than people who are doing that. Now, if we go to hexdailystats.com, we can see where we're at with the liquidity. That's, kind of like the basic version. I mean, I could go to Uniswap V2 and V3 and poke around there, but this will give you an overview. So usually what I like to do is, wow, Gwei is 64. I predict that when Pulse Chain launches, Gwei is going to be uncontrollably high and wild. Let's see. So if we go over here, we can see Liquidity pool USDC, we could see more has been added in the past few days. We had gotten all the way down to like $1 million or sub $2 million level back. Yeah, here we were sub $1 million back right after Christmas and around the first of the year, and then just been rocketing up with the amount of USDC that's sitting there in the liquidity pool. $7.5 million worth right now. When it comes to the liquidity pool for ETH, there's 2,700 ETH there. And in terms of Hex, it's been fluctuating a lot. You can see just in the past week, it's ranged all the way from 50. Well, no, it's ranged all the way down from 38 million yesterday, 48 million today / yesterday, and it went as high as 91 million 4 or 5 days ago. So yeah, I mean, people can always come and market dump and market buy, but those are the people who are adding liquidity to the liquidity pool, either on the V2 or the V3 side. And the V3 people might be buying up Hex, trying to not push the price against themselves, doing a market buy. And it's bullish. I mean, when the price goes up, the price can go up more because it's a reflexive system. Not will, but can. Is Crypto Khalil a cool name? Yes, obviously. Steak. There you go. Thanks for everything you do, Maddie. Hey, my pleasure. Hexy Hexakin. Yes. ExpoMiami.com. That's the blog. Moon, if mining history teaches us anything, own the shovels. And that's what a t-shirt is used to mine Hex. Hey, Jesse James, thanks for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everything you do, Maddie. Hey, my pleasure. And thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Can you organize a conference in Europe or Australia? Maybe how about a meetup first? We'll do a meetup and then we'll see how it goes. And I'm interested in doing it, but can't make any promises. Not only YouTubers got called by the SEC, says Dolomite. Regular fans of Hex like myself got an email from Twitter. Exactly. Yeah, and that seems like overreach to me, big time. Moondog, because words other than symbols are used to communicate. PLS is literally a project rooted in the value of speech. I agree. Okay, I wasn't sure with sending it to a centralized exchange would risk the process going to the bank account. Wasn't sure if there was a decentralized way as well. Thank you for the response. If you're doing a large amount, like what is sometimes recommended when you're cashing out is to do like chunks every so basically. So I think the way that Richard even put it one time was, send $2,000, $2,500, and then get that to clear, and then do another 2,500, another 2,500. Now, look, they change the rules on this all the time, but at least that would allow you to keep your sovereignty. And then if they shut you down because you're doing too many transactions, then you're not going to lose it all at once, basically. I mean, if you were sending like $100,000 or $250,000 at a time, they usually look at that very closely to look for money laundering and that sort of thing. Hexologist must be elated during his vacation when the hex price is going up. That's right, Yellowtail. And he actually streamed today for just 20 minutes because we got tweets from Richard. And so he broke his vacation to check in with us quickly. And I appreciated that. Everybody loves Hexologists, and they should. On an off-ramp that Dolomite has used, it looks like, is Trust Token, TUSD. Mining Hex for the long haul. There you go. Look at the red candles on Bitcoin and ETH. Okay. Well, guys, I hope ETH doesn't fall apart because I bought like $1,000 yesterday, and I'm already down 5%. But gotta pay those ETH fees to end stakes. How far would we be able to go back if hacked? I know someone who got hacked in March 2021. There's big news with my crypto utility that's coming out in the future, and we in private testnet we successfully undid a hack. And unfortunately, this isn't going to apply to people who got hacked in the past. It'll only be people who set up a special smart contract vault ahead of time. But that tweet like popped off way stronger than I expected. But I think the interest in it keeps growing as we get closer and closer. And yeah, so we can see, I think it was at 369 likes last time I looked. Yeah, so I said breaking smart vault me is working on Pulse Chain V2B private testnet. Imagine my surprise when we invented a way to undo a hack in MetaMask using a smart contract you hold. Special thanks to everyone following along on this journey to make crypto safe and smart again. And then here's this beautiful image I made of myself using the beautiful front end to recover a hacked wallet that was set up with a smart contract. So that is really cool. Lots of people liked and retweeted this, and I really appreciate all the support. It means a lot. So this is something we're going to launch on Ethereum and on Pulse Chain to be able to time lock any ERC or PRC20 tokens, get a weekly drip back to yourself, and be able to undo a hack in some circumstances. So that's really exciting. And the person who's making the front end is none other than the person who made HexSearch.io. And so definitely shout out to him. And that's it's really exciting. Both of the developers I'm working with are doing amazing work. And so it blew me away to be able to recover an address that had time locked crypto on it. It blew me away. I was so excited to be able to do that. So I can't wait to be able to share that with everybody once we finalize the front end. Then the actual blockchain code will be set in stone, and then of course get whatever audits we need to get, probably a community audit and a paid audit, that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot to look forward to here as Pulse Chain is getting ready to launch. What a time to be alive, says Daddy Hexler. Aussie Hexicans represent. Yeah, I tuned in for Hex Token streaming just before I did. There are a lot of other great Hex streamers that I've been watching lately. I want to shout out to Crypto7. He always gets me hyped up. Crypto Coffee's been streaming. Randy Hilarski streams almost every night. He's one to tune into. Furu Finance did a stream with Johnny Chaos today. I listened to an hour or two of it, and then YouTube cut it off. So I'll have to go back and see if that was just me or if there was a problem with the stream. Tons of great content being turned out there. And then your friend Sami, of course, a huge up and coming YouTuber in the Hex space who's been doing an awesome job of making videos every single day. So shout out to everybody who's making Hex content, even if I didn't drop your name there. What other protocols have committed to run on Pulse Chain? Well, I'm probably not the best person to ask about that. It seems like everything's getting forked over. I don't know, maybe I am the best person to ask. So here's a list of like all the projects that are being forked over that we knew of a while back. And it's probably going to be even more because mine isn't even on here. So yeah, I mean, there's like 120. There's probably close to 200 now, really. Bro, why is Hex going down? Because the price of things with low liquidity is highly volatile, and because it doesn't just go straight up. It has to go up and down and up and down. Sean Johnson, thanks for all you do, Maddie. Any updates on Pulse Chain? Working on releasing the final testnet? Well, it looks like that is in the works. I saw a Hex token report on YouTube today that lots of the Pulse Chain devs have been logging in to their GitHub accounts or wherever it is that people are publicly seeing the list of who's logging in and uploading and accessing files. And so that is really exciting. Now, look, if Richard Hart doesn't know when Pulse Chain is coming out, neither do I. But, you know, I think, and all the speculation has been wrong. What I say is it's probably in between 2 weeks and a year is when Pulse Chain will come out. And that's because they're unknown unknowns and software is hard. Now, I know people don't want to hear that, and I would love to be wrong. I would love for it to come out in a day or a week. But so far, that's, you know, I don't know anything you don't know. And I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited that Richard Hart keeps giving updates, that he is having a turning point when it comes to his outrage marketing. And I think it's all so exciting. So exciting. And that's why there are 183 people watching live right now. Hit the like and subscribe button. And there's been thousands of people watching on the replay for all these awesome updates. And look, I told you last week that that I was just kind of checking in. It wasn't going to be that good of a show. Still 1,200 people tuned in for Hex Therapy Live. And like I said before, 4,500 people have been tuning in the past couple weeks for Game Theory Gang. So that's incredible. And there are other streamers that are out there that people are going to connect with even better. But I can guarantee you, I'm going to keep bringing you alpha that is unique. The best that I can. RH new tweet? Really? Well, we better check that out. Okay, here we go. Richard Hart, 8 minutes ago. He says, "My culture is my culture. You can't take it away from me. It's literally part of me." And he posted pictures of himself from grade school, it looks like. Wow, that's exciting. And let's see if we can find which. Oh, there. Yeah, easy. Can you see my cursor there? Yeah, there's Richard right there. Yeah, it's hard to miss there. And of course, what he's showing is something that he's reported publicly. I mean, this is back in like the COVID days that he was talking about his culture more. And, this is a classroom of kids that are different races and whatnot. So he didn't grow up in an all white culture, I think is what he's saying here. And here's another school picture. There's Richard up at the top. He's been very public about where he went to grade school and what his experiences were like. This is Riverland Elementary, and that was in 1988. In 1989, that was Richard in 3rd grade. And then let's see what else we have here. Okay, and then yeah, you could see more diversity still in this 4th grade class. And there's Richard wearing a Nintendo shirt. So he is representing his cypherpunk roots already in 4th grade. I love that. I don't see anybody else with a Nintendo shirt on. And so that, that shows me Richard's interest in computers and video games already at a young age. And then what do we have here? This looks like a class trip. Yes. Richard making friends already. That's beautiful. So, Yeah, look at that. Awesome. So thanks, somebody for pointing that out. Now, what does this mean? Why is Richard posting this? You know, your guess is as good as mine. I think that Richard has always been who he is, and so I don't know. Maybe this means that he's maybe this means that he's always going to be himself. That's how I would interpret this. Maybe people are misinterpreting that he's not bragging anymore. Maybe he literally is going to go back and forth. Maybe and you know, I was thinking earlier today. I was like, well, I think somebody needs to brag for Richard, and like if he's not going to do it, I think the community will, because he's really achieving great things. I think that he's the type of person that ends up becoming more of a legend, even in pop culture. I think that Richard will be, you know, the next Steve Jobs of crypto. Easily. What do you think this tweet means? And yeah, he said, you can't take away from me. It's literally part of me, his culture. And so, you know, and I wonder if it was the case that the Gucci stuff was not echoing to like Richard's roots for himself. Maybe that's part. Maybe he did not change because right, that's the title. The title of this stream is "Flexing is Boring." A Richard Hart, the latest Richard Hart quote, and so maybe the reason flexing got boring was because it didn't fit with his culture. I don't know. What do you think? That's my awkward speculation. I noticed RH has been giving updates about Pulse Chain mostly in the evenings, Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Well, nobody knows exactly where he is in the world. Although he did say that he was working on a museum in Europe. Late afternoon to evening time. Well, look, Hex Sean, you can go to HexSearch.io and you can look up all the times Richard has talked about timing attacks, and then you could pretty much deduce that I don't think he would dox even his hemisphere just by that. So it's, you know, not necessarily indicative. ETH just dropped from 1643 to 1565 in the last hour. Well, that sounds like an opportunity for people who didn't buy it yet. That's awesome, Maddie. Congratulations. Hey, thanks. Yeah, the update that I did about Smart Vault Me and Time Pays Me are the two names for my crypto utility. So you can time lock your Pulse Chain and PulseX tokens like me. I'm going to do that with a significant portion of my stack because I have weak hands and I love the superpower that Hex gives me to be able to time lock my coins. Pulses, there you go. Thanks for the update, Maddie. My pleasure. Crispy is also great as well. Totally. All right, BTC's dropping 5%. That's business as usual now, isn't it? Yeah, Sami streams. Those are the best. Do you see Hex going up with the release date of testnet v3, or do you see it around a point? Well, do you see it around 7 cents for a while? I have no idea in the short term. I could not tell you. I think that it will be volatile. I think it will go up and down probably significantly. We could see the price swinging around all different ways because I don't know when testnet v3 is coming out. And if I don't know, then that means that probably the traders have moved in. Okay. So you've got all the people who are long-term holders like myself who have staking ladders, and we have to like basically sell a little bit every year. I mean, if we don't get enough airdrops and that kind of stuff. You know, and so where have I gotten to with my Hex journey? Well, I have more T-shares now than I've ever had. So I know that the the short-term stuff that I'm doing with Hex, maybe I take an airdrop, let's say like Hedron or Pulse Dogecoin. Maybe I convert that into Hex for a while, and that's Hex is my store of value. But then then I can restake my staking ladder, but I still have that Hex store of value that I'm going to sell throughout the year because I bought Hex using that strategy. So I think for everybody, I think pretty much everybody is has a little bit of a trader inside of them. Even for me, if it's like 1% of my total stack. And so I think you could see with like a huge run up, Hex doing 450%, 350% up from the bottom in the past 60 days. You could see some people taking profit. You could see some traders get spooked that V3 isn't out yet and see them exit. But because testnet is so unpredictable, because PulseChain is so unpredictable, I would expect more volatility, and I would expect more traders coming in and out, playing around with that. Would love to help you organize a meetup in Sydney. I'm not a Hex OG, actually bought the top, but very happy to help you organize a meetup. Hey, that's awesome. And one of my favorite Hexicans out there is Tangent, and I believe he's in Australia. So that'd be really cool to do. I've never been to that side of the world, and I would really like to make it out there at some point. I missed the sacrifice, so I've been watching nonstop on how to obtain PulseChain. Yep. Well, it's not here yet. RH, what a cutie pie, says Anita. There you go. Looks like ballet brand. He's a visionary, and he's just one of us. Okay, there you go. He did come from humble beginnings, and that's who he really is. That's a really good point. Big D. Quantifiably correct. RH is revealing some very personal things now. Wow. I think we're in good hands with RH leading the way. Yo, says Hex Fetty. Maddie, what is your opinion on PHEX versus Hex on ETH once mainnet is out? I think whatever people are thinking, the opposite might happen. That's a thing, right? And so when everybody's saying PHEX is the only one that's going to be the most valuable, I don't think that that's how it always plays out. So what I would do is I would add that side. Okay. I can't tell you how I'm going to play it because I don't know how it's going to be. But if nobody is telling you that EHEX can be valuable, it might be valuable, or it might dump super hard. It's up to us. It's up to the people who hold it. Now, I mean, it'll be really fascinating to see, even if V3 launching is a buy the news event or sell the news event, right? Because it's coming on the heels of when PulseChain should launch. That's something that people are clearly excited about, because people ran the price of Hex all the way up to 7.5 cents from 1.7. So people are excited about Hex. People are excited about PulseChain. But which copy is going to be worth more? It's hard to say. The case that the Ethereum side could be worth anything is that sometimes if it's more expensive to do stakes, then people are going to perceive it having a higher value. Now, and it only takes a few whales to balance out a lot of small fish. So look, I don't know what I'm going to do. I do not know. I know it's going to be really hard for me to hold every single tiny little Hex that I have, like the 1% that I live off of per year. If I don't have enough airdrops, like it's going to be hard for me to hold that liquid if the price goes up super high. So I think everybody is holding liquid, looking for a good point to take some profits. And I think that that's exactly what you need in a situation where there are traders coming in and out trying to play the pulse chain launch. And there are people who have been paying attention for a long time. There are people just waking up to Hex now. There are people just finding out about it. There are YouTube channels that are just now talking about it. For example, I listened to Ian, I can't remember exactly his last name, but it's like Heinrich or something. I met him at the Bitcoin conference. Him and B-Roots were on a Crypto Kings YouTube live stream earlier today. I said hi to them. I asked them a question. Those guys understand Hex really well. They said they bought bags of it already. And they understand Pulse Chain and Pulse X super well too. So they're like, what I see them as is like they're your average popular YouTubers who cover all crypto, and they're paying attention closely to all of this. And if you fast forward through the through their talk about wrestling and boxing and stuff, then it's really worth listening to their stream from today, because they'll give you sensible advice about how they look at it as traders. I think when Richard talks about his culture, the picture tells it all. In grammar school, it's obvious that he grew up as a kid from the streets. When I first heard Richard, I instantly connected with him, says Melf Tony. Hey, that's awesome. Hex going only up. Yeah, not a thing. Yes, come to Sydney. All right. Well, we got a lot of votes for doing a meetup in Sydney. That'd be cool. Hex cited. Double thumbs up. There you go. Payout per T-share on ETH Hex may be epic if it dumps. OA may intervene also. Look, and Johnny Chaos makes some awesome points about parity. I don't think that'll happen, but I would love to be wrong, because that would be a really big deal. I think that would make us all really rich. T-Hex. Steakhouse could ensure the future of eHex. I haven't learned about that one yet. And I know that the Maximus guys they announced a product that they're going to be launching airdrop style called Pool Party. And it's going to allow people to use their protocol to create tokenized Hex shares, to tokenize Hex stakes that are no longer called stakes. So they're called mining operations. And I guess they're going to airdrop 10% of the party token that they're creating to people who already own or who buy within the next week or so any of the perpetual tokens or any of the other tokens that they've created. And so you can go to like hexpool.party to learn more about that. Look, I already stacked up on the Deci token, which is a 10-year Hex stake. And that one's kind of interesting for me because I might end up getting trapped in it because it's trading at a discount from when I bought it, and I don't want to sell it at a discount. So that's kind of cool. I didn't expect that to happen. And that teaches me a lot about my fears about tokenized Hex stakes. And I still think HSIs are, even though they're pretty unpopular, I think, and they're like not done at a big scale, I think that those are a net negative for Hex. But I think that the Maximus DAO stuff is maybe like a net neutral. But when I release my product to be able to time lock any ERC or PRC20 token, I'll be able to take basically a perpetual like Deci and time lock it and drip it back to myself and be earning yield that way. And so that'll be really cool. we already know Hex on Pulse Chain is going to pass Hex on ETH, no brainer. Well, we don't know that. I would argue. I think that is more likely. But remember, this has never been done before. So Pulse Chain could like have a hiccup in it. We hope that that's not the case. And we're pretty confident that things are going to go right. But it's a miracle that any of this stuff works, right? And what a beautiful, I've said this for over a year now. What a beautiful opportunity it would be if there was a hiccup in Pulse Chain. I would prefer to not have a hiccup, but if everybody dumped, if there was a 99% dump because people got fudded out by a hiccup in the code, well, that's a sweet buying opportunity for me. And then it's way easier for me to get 100x or 1000x or 10,000x or a 5 million X like Bitcoin did. Like it's way easier for me to do that if everybody freaks out and sells any of their Pulse Chain or PulseX or Hex, PHEX, all that. So, bring on the uncertainty, right? Because I'm going to structure my plans, as I've said before, using time locking as my superpower. And I'm going to dollar cost average out of all my coins. I would love it if I only sold 1 to 2% of my Hex every year for the rest of my life. And I can't guarantee you that that's what I'll do. And this is not financial advice, and I'm not making a deal with you or anything. But how cool would that be if I'm going to live another 50 to 100 years? How cool would it be for my Hex to extend that entire period? I think that would be pretty cool. Part of Richard will always be salt of the earth, says Thoschild. Very well put. And everybody needs to remember that Thoschild has pointed out something that I pointed out before, except he made a whole video about it, saying that there should be a dolly in the Richard Hart Museum because it was Richard using a dolly that ended up causing him to chip his tooth, which ended up causing him to start his first business when he realized he could sell some of his stereo equipment and get his tooth fixed. So how cool is that Thoschild picked up on that? And again, you want to hear the story, go to HexTherapy.live and check it out straight from Richard Hart's channel himself. Harry Williams, Ivan. You talking about Ivan on Tech? He's been mentioning Hex and Pulse Chain more often. That's pretty exciting. I'll buy eHex if it dumps, says quantifiably correct. I don't see why it would ever stop being how it is now. Bigger players can afford the gas. I agree. Ivan on Deck is his name. That's right. Hey, Access Alive. This is another Hex streamer that you can't miss. And I've been tuning into all of his streams. He's been doing a media tour. Nothing more exciting these days than catching Access Alive streaming. He streamed with Crypto 7 recently. He streamed with a bunch of other people. So just look him up and make sure to check out Access Alive. Hoping to have him on my channel again sometime soon. Steven, Sydney meetup, great idea. Wow. Well, hey, I didn't know that there was so much interest in that. Another vote for a Sydney meetup. Look, somebody must have gotten the word out that we're going to be doing a Sydney meetup someday. We already learned from ETH proof of work the same code, but not everyone on ETH for a copy on Pulse Chain. Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying there. Look, I like Hex on all chains. ETH proof of work fork. There were 2 forks that came out of that. That's not Pulse Chain. It's not the same. When nobody knew the week before that was happening, or at least nobody around here who's not like a miner that never talks to the world. So Pulse chain is going to be completely different. I don't think we can compare the two. Although I did call it a dress rehearsal for Pulse chain, I may have been wrong on that. I mean, in a technical way it was. In some ways it was, but it didn't land socially. Pulse chain shows signs of landing socially in a big way that the other ETH copies haven't. Look, Ethereum and layer 1 technology has been forked more times than I can count. But how many times has the entire system state been airdropped to people in a way that has built so much momentum as Pulse chain? And the answer is it's never been done before. I'm still very excited about it. All right. Mt. Gox is going to start giving out BTC this month. Beware. About 20K dumped on Binance in the last hour. Hex will look very attractive with the rest of the market drowning. That'd be cool. Steakhouse is the magic carpet ride, guys. It's a good deal. Might have to look into it, Hex Fetty. Desi, but did you diamond hands steak? That wasn't available by the time I got around to checking out Desi. So no. That was a limited time thing. Sydney. BTC price is dumping hard. Okay, well, is it more than 5% yet? Because that's just like another day in crypto. It's like normal. You know, this stuff, it can't go straight up. Okay, it just can't. And even if it could, you wouldn't want it to. Okay, you want to have entry points for people who are being patient, because those are the people who are going to be patient to hold on to the coins longer term anyway. You don't want these wild bubble trader crazy people who are trading, you know, second by second. You don't want those people. So it's okay to have a correction, unless like you're one of the trading people who is trying to play a short-term game. And then you deserve to get rich or get wrecked, like however you will. But nobody can trade on a short enough timeline to really have immediate gratification unless you're lucky. People who have shorter timelines, they lose in the long term, typically. On Pulse Chain Network, I will do minting every months and years for the next 10 years. I think it's too expensive on ETH to do it at the moment. Here, I'll make another point about kind of like trading psychology. It's like, look, all the people who were in love with the fact that it went up to 7.5 cents because they bought it 2 cents, all those people, once they see it start coming back down, they're going to be selling unless they're going to be holding. Like, it's basically testing people's fortitude at this level. Like, and if it goes down to like 6 cents or 5 cents, right? Like, some people will panic sell because they're like, oh no, I want to hold on to the gains that I never really had that were all on paper anyway, right? Like, that is the market psychology playing out. And that's why the line doesn't go straight up over time. It's because people see it going up and they get attached to that number, and then it goes down and they freak out and sell because they're playing the short-term game. It can happen to anybody. Like, but when people wait for red candles to buy, sometimes they get left behind and sometimes they get a great deal. It's very hard to predict. That's why it's so interesting to people. I had no clue about that story. The Richard chipping his tooth and starting his first business with car stereo equipment. Yeah. It's out there. How does this show his humble beginnings? Well, that was a comment that I read from somebody else. But if you want to learn about Richard's humble beginnings, I bet you could go to HexSearch.io and you could type in like to find his stories from grade school, and then you could actually access the knowledge that we're all just remembering but having difficulty articulating exactly what it was. But I mean, Richard basically said that he went to a school that was not very privileged, that was underprivileged. So that's where people are getting that from, probably. The uncertainty of ETH gas fees are making long hex stakers leery. I think we are to have, I think we're going to have to utilize some sort of second layer for stakes on Ethereum. Well, that's what the Maximus guys are doing with the hex pool.party or whatever the website is. And Deci is a way to get around crazy end stake gas fees. So there are solutions out there being created. Awesome. Scroll up a bit. I just gave the numbers over the past couple of hours. Oh, you're talking to somebody in the chat. Good. Let Bitcoin go to zero. We don't need it. Well, not everybody would say that, but more OGs on eHex versus new hexagons on phex. That's true. Sending respect from the dollar cost crypto moon gang. Hey, thanks Willie B long 33. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining. 5.2% drop by BTC, Maddie. There you go. It's not the end of the world, but hey, if all those Gox coins come out, then Richard might end up being right about on-chain Bitcoin going to 11K. I pointed out when Grayscale Bitcoin went to 11K. And you know what? I had a correction. The other day on the show, I said that I bought some Bitcoin at 11.1K that I tweeted. And I think I might have actually bought Ethereum instead on Grayscale, because I was like hovering my finger over the buy button for Bitcoin. And I was like, I don't really like Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go up as much as Ethereum, blah, blah, blah. So I bought so I was buying the Bitcoin dip on Ethereum, basically, with like $1,000 or $2,000 that was like trapped in legacy. Pullback is just a chance to add more. Yeah. Good words. Smash the like. Go all in on that like button. That's right. Going through the bear market of Hex, delayed gratification makes it that much sweeter. On Fresh and Fit, RH talked with a street accent. I think that is his real voice. Swearworks. Hey, thanks for arriving and checking out the replay. Yeah, Willie B, that is true. That yeah, and people didn't know what to think of that when Richard changed his voice. I don't think it's that weird. People have accents all the time. I was not offended by it. I didn't think it was suspect. I didn't think it was weird. But hey, I've as a therapist, like I worked with lots of people, and people have different accents that they use normally at times. And so yeah, I know that was something that not everybody in the community really understood from my perspective. But hey, maybe it really, how should I put this? It's cool if you're buying Hex because you believe in the founder, but remember, Hex is something that is decentralized and it's not actually tied to Richard Hart, other than the fact that he's the founder. So there's plenty to dig into there. And I think that in general, people who didn't buy Hex because of Richard are definitely missing the point. Like, you could buy Hex because you like Richard. I did that. That's how I got into Hex, is I liked Richard. I liked the idea of getting a Bitcoin free claim. But if you came into Hex during the time when there was outrage marketing, I think you were missing the point that you're not buying this because you necessarily have to like the founder, but because you appreciate what real DeFi is. So, yeah, I am not completely better, but I am better than I was. So my clavicle is still broken on this side. Over here, it healed up quite well. And I just got my YouTube studio back together, my old one. So I actually downsized in the bear market, and I'm really happy that I've got my stuff set up again. I had been healing in a different town than I normally live in. So, hey, there you go. Maddie, Richard Hart posted some pictures when he was in 4th grade. Show it, please. He's the real OG with a Nintendo shirt. Well, I showed that already, and it's actually still on the screen. So you must be tuning in on audio or something. But yeah, there's the picture of Richard in his Nintendo shirt. So cute. Oh, yeah, there you go. So there you have it, everybody. What an exciting time with Richard updating everybody on how to refer to Hex more accurately, and seeing the price go up and down. That's going to bring in more traders. There were traders maybe sitting on the sidelines that weren't going to come play with us until the price dipped by 8 or 10%. So now's your chance, isn't it? Where did my banner go? There we go. This is Hex Therapy Live. Hey, and I'm wearing my Hexpo Vegas shirt. That's cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Is there anybody we can raid right now? That'd be cool. I like all the other streamers. Randy Hilarski might be going live soon, and I might just keep streaming for another 5 minutes until he starts, so that you guys can have a flawless, seamless operation and mega uptime. That's what we like in Hex. I think Randy normally starts at 9 o'clock Central, so I am going to wait and see if he goes live. So hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you don't leave me hanging there. And if you're watching on the replay, like most people are, please comment. Tell me what you think. What did I talk about today that was interesting? What do you think about everything we talked about? What do you think about this idea of calling it mining instead of staking? What do you think about Richard letting people know that there's a firm that's helping people who are getting persecuted by the SEC? All right, here, I've got more news. You guys thought that the show was over, but I tricked you. All right, another piece of news that we heard recently is something about like the Daily Mail having quoted Richard when he commented on an ALLin tweet. And I think that that's actually significant, and I haven't heard anybody say this, but if you watched the Meghan and Harry documentary on Netflix, they were calling out the Daily Mail as being like part of the shadow government of like the UK. So I don't know if like the royal family is investing in Hex and now they want to like pump their own bags or what. But all I know is that we have a lot of Hex streamers. We have a lot of Hex participants who are from the UK. When the Highest of Stakes documentary did their Hex meetup with Richard and with the community, they had like 300 to 400 people show up for the Hex second birthday. And so they decided to host it in London. So that's that's pretty exciting that the Daily Mail is all of a sudden showing Richard. And it's wildly speculative as to whether like, everything I just said is pure like pop culture rumor, like probably mostly not true. But hey, it's part of our free speech to be able to speculate and to be really clear that it is speculation. And but how cool would it be to see the Daily Mail continue to cover Richard Hart? I think that would be pretty cool. All right, let's see if Randy Holarski is live. Let's see. Scheduled for 9 p.m. Oh, he's doing his casino night. So that's like the opposite of Hex Therapy Live. But that's okay because Randy makes great content. And I love tuning into him no matter what. Randy's been doing a lot with artificial intelligence to create images and be on the cutting edge of that as a content creator. He also has a Patreon that he's launched that had over 100 people sign up for it. So he's definitely showing how successful he can be with covering Hex and everything else that he's into, for sure. Well, you know, I know how to fill time. I can keep going on for a couple more minutes to see if he'll start his live stream soon. Looks like he's getting ready to go live. I got a few more comments here I can catch up on. That's for sure. Access Live said he's looking forward to coming on again. The Hex conference online was so lit. I agree. It was so much fun. Thanks for the stream, Maddie. My pleasure. What do you think about Pulse Valley? No clue. Nice, Maddie. You should do more of the Holarski kind of streams. Is this a Holarski kind of stream? Cool. Hit the like before you go, says Mick. We like, says Swearworks. You the man, Maddie. Material on your shirt is super comfy. Yep. Yeah, it totally is. And I want to outdo myself. I can't make any promises, but I want to outdo myself this year with the Expo Miami meetup. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet to Expo Miami, go to hexpomiami.com and check it out. I think I could probably share my screen and pump that a little bit more too, because that is going to be a lot of fun. And if you don't make it, then you can make it to the next one. hexpomiami.com. And this is it's gonna be a 48-hour live stream as well. So that's super exciting. Expo Miami, May 18th to 20th on Miami Beach. It's $99 at hexticket.com. Going online is free. Here's a beautiful graphic. You can see like the background of the Bitcoin meetup. I took this picture last year, and then I made a cool graphic this year. And then here's a picture of me standing next to the robotic Bitcoin bull from outside the conference center that it looks like they might have again this year. Yeah. And then I just said like why it's required to have a ticket and where you can get the tickets at. The price of the Bitcoin conference ticket went up. It was $650. Now it's like $700. I do have a pretty exciting announcement about this event that I'll have to make on Tuesday, or I'll make a special video. But I just have to nail down the final details. And yeah, the hat that I'm wearing, that is going to be for the first probably 120 ticket holders, or the first 120 people to show up. I haven't decided yet. And there's going to be opportunities for us to like take group pictures and take over restaurant areas. And it's going to be really like a guerrilla style meetup kind of. So we're just kind of taking over parts of the Bitcoin conference inside and outside of the Bitcoin conference, and taking care of like operational security. And we'll be asking all the different YouTubers who participated in the Hex conference if they want to participate in the 48-hour live stream. I'm basically planning on giving, basically splitting it up maybe into 6-hour blocks and having the blocks that I can't cover because I need to sleep at some point. We'll have like somebody else running the show, and then basically give people 1 hour each and then fill up the 48 hours that way. I'm like super excited for this because our in-person events are a big deal. They've been life-changing for some people, and for other people, it's just a great time. And then the online event is where we can really include everybody, even if you're still accumulating and you're planning to come to one of my Hex meetups in the future. I still hold the record for the largest Hex meetup of all time at the hexpo.vegas. conference where we had 555 people pay for tickets. Now, we didn't get all 555 people in the same room at the same time, but that's okay. That's not really how events work. And when we did the group picture, there were probably 200 or 300 or more people showing up. But I know how many tickets I sold, and it is incredible. So cool. Here's pictures of me from the Bitcoin conference last year with like all the famous Bitcoiners. That was really fun to be able to take pictures with all of them. And then I like told people about me so that they can understand the trust that you can have for me. And the Hex.photos is amazing. You can see the meetups from previous years. So yeah, there you go. That's what I got there. Let's see if Randy has started up yet. Hope he's not waiting for me to end, but we're gonna raid him after a while here. So Randy's been doing a great job of streaming and really building a lot of a following of people watching in the live stream. So I'm going to keep this going for a few more minutes if I can. Oh, we got more chats. Thanks, Maddie. Mining is good. It's hard to change my wording. It's hard for me too. I think I will have to catch myself for years to come. Would be even better with Randy. Yeah. Love your streams. Hey, thank you, Cookies and Crypto. When I set up my stakes, I wasn't mining, I was staking, but I will listen to the others. Well, were you? Were you though? Were you running code yourself? That's the important part. Not relying on a middleman, not sending coins to a centralized exchange. Look, that's what staking means these days. These days, staking means moving your coins somewhere. In Hex, you're not moving your Hex anywhere. You're burning it, and then you're minting new Hex later on. Hey, we got Randy live. Thanks, Maddie. You bring positive attitude. Amazes me how dedicated the community is. Still baffled as to why everyone gatekept you. My eyes are blue. Thanks for asking. Good to see everybody. I'm probably not going to get all of the final comments here, but hey, hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. Let Randy Hilarski know that we are rating him. Let him know that Maddie sent you, and go raid Randy Hilarski. I just dropped the link to his stream in the YouTube. So go check that out. Don't gamble all your money away. If gambling is a trigger for you, don't go watch his stream tonight. Just subscribe and then watch his streams every other night, except for Thursdays when he's doing his casino thing. But I'm sure he'll talk about crypto. He'll give really good commentary. I'm going to watch his stream myself. So go check that out. And let's see. Until next time, my friends. Stake wisely.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research, big videos on sudden wealth syndrome. There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man. Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.